Hello, Alirio here. This is going to be the premiere episode of my new podcast. I figured I'd make a video cast because I have some visual aids. Well, one visual aid that I'd like to use. I'm going to be talking today about certain things that make Canada and the United States a little different, and I'm going to go into an even deeper level for my first item. My first item is Doritos Cool Ranch potato chips. And as you can see on the bottom here, it says chips, tortilla chips, which is because we here in Quebec, where I live, where Montreal is, have French and English as the two languages here, mostly French. And so they figured chips, tortilla, which is the French way to say it, and tortilla chips. You know, you just put chips on either side of tortilla, and there's your translation. Now, this is a very unique item for Quebecers because we don't get it here. We don't have Cool Ranch Doritos chips distributed in the province of Quebec, and so I picked this up when I was last in Toronto last weekend for a wedding, and you know, had a treat. Decided to bring it over because I figured, you know, I might want to use this as a visual aid to describe that. So that's a bit of an interesting thing. There are certain products that are available in certain provinces and other products that aren't, and maybe Doritos doesn't sell enough of the Cool Ranch to make it worthwhile to include it in its distribution. It was available here a few years ago, and then previous to that it wasn't, and previous to that it was. So it's always available in Ontario, whether you're in Ottawa or Toronto or even Cornwall, which is the closest quote-unquote major city to Montreal. In Ontario. And you know, to go to a slightly different level, if we're going to look at differences between Canada and the United States in a general level, I had mentioned this to Steph Smith via Twitter. In Canada, the only soft drinks that are allowed to possess any caffeine in them whatsoever are cola-colored soft drinks. So Coca-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, anything that's dark brown can have caffeine in it, and that of course leaves Mountain Dew, which has caffeine in it in the United States. In Canada, there's no caffeine in Mountain Dew. So the entire basis of the advertising campaign of Mountain Dew, which has people doing crazy, excitable things, and that's supposed to give you some kind of unconscious rapport with the level of caffeine, none of the people that drink Mountain Dew in Canada ever, you know, take their mountain bikes off a cliff or go skydiving with their mountain bikes. There's lots of commercials with mountain bikes and Mountain Dew. But we don't have caffeine in our non-cola colored beverages here in Canada. That's an interesting difference. We have restrictions on things that are clearly stimulants, controlled substances that certain companies want to claim are flavor agents. So that's a bit of an interesting difference, junk food wise anyway. I'd like to make this very short, so I don't want to go on and on. I would like to offer you an assignment, and as a Canadian, as someone who writes in English in Canada, and someone who's on the internet quite a bit, we notice differences in the way people spell things, and we like to have use in words like favorite, and neighbor, and honor. And as an assignment, I'm going to present you with a list right now that you can see on the screen of certain words that I'd like you to try and use one of these, and I'm going to say it, correct spellings, because the United States of America is the only country that does not actually have the U in those words. We can thank Webster for that. Anyone who can get their hands on The Professor and the Madman, excellent book about how Webster was just loopy and decided to reinvent the American English language. So please pick one of those words, and for a week, whenever you need to write that word, write it like a Canadian would. Alright, so that's it for now. I'm going to try to put out something once a week. We'll see how well that goes. Either video or audio. I'm probably not going to do audio by myself. I need a guest, or else I'm going to go on and on forever. You know, take care, be safe, and watch for the signs.